So let's pick up where we left off and start with a heart that devises wicked plans. This describes a person who has a wicked heart, who is always thinking and planning of something evil. I knew several people like this back when I was in high school. These people were usually labeled as thugs, and they were always planning and plotting something horrible to do to another student or to a teacher so that they would have the appearance of being bad. One of them actually caught a trash can on fire in one classroom. Let's face it, some people are just rotten to the bone. Again, we have several examples of people like this in the Bible as well. Our first example comes from the story of Ahab and Jezebel. Ahab wanted this particular vineyard from Naboth, but he would not sell it to him. But we're about to find out just how wicked Jezebel is. Let's pick up in the story at 1 Kings 21 and verse number 4. So Ahab went into his house sullen and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he lay down on his bed and turned away his face and would eat no food. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said to him, Why is your spirit so sullen that you eat no food? He said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it pleases you, I will give you another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give you my vineyard. Then Jezebel, his wife, said to him, You now exercise authority over Israel. Arise, eat food, and let your heart be cheerful. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. And she wrote letters in Ahab's name, sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters to the elders and the nobles who were dwelling in the city with Naboth. She wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and seat Naboth with high honor among the people. And seat 2 men, scoundrels, before him to bear witness against him, saying, You have blasphemed God and the king. Then take him out and stone him, that he may die. So the men of the city, the elders and the nobles who were inhabitants of his city, did as Jezebel had sent to them, as it was written in the letters which she had sent to them. As the story goes on, this poor man is murdered, all because Jezebel wanted to satisfy her husband's greed. But her plotting and scheming didn't go unnoticed by God, because he predicted that she would be eaten by dogs, and that's exactly what happened to her. She fell to her death, and before they could get to her body, the dogs came and ate her up. Now, there are a lot of examples in the Bible of this kind of behavior. Think about Joseph and how his brothers couldn't stand him because their father loved him more and gave him this coat of many colors. So they plotted and they schemed about taking him out, but instead they ended up selling him into slavery, which worked out in the end to save all the children of Israel. In the book of Daniel, under King Nebuchadnezzar, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego had been put into positions of power because of Daniel's ability to interpret dreams. The people of Babylon didn't like this, so they plotted and schemed on how they could take these men out, and they found their opportunity when the king made an idol and told the people to bow down to it. Since these 3 men would not do it, they quickly pointed this out to the king, and they soon found themselves in the fiery furnace. But God protected them from this evil plan. The same thing happened to Daniel under King Darius. The people didn't like that he had so much power, and he was a foreigner. In fact, when the king was even thinking about putting him in charge of everything, just right underneath him. And so they came up with this plan. They convinced the king to sign a decree that no one could pray to another man or God. And of course, Daniel prayed anyways, and he found himself thrown into the lion's den. But once again, we find that God protected him. As we move into the New Testament, we find the Jews continually plotting against Jesus. And we also have the wicked plan that Judas came up with to betray our Lord and Master. All of these are great examples of those who were devising wicked plans, which is the sin that God hates. The way we as Christians can avoid entangling ourselves in this sin is to keep our minds focused on God and making heaven our goal. The more time we spend on thinking on how we can help others and how we can be greater servants of God, the less time we will have for devising evil plans.